So hey guys, today we're going to be once again talking about Altergeist, and this time we're going to be talking about what Altergeist does not have, but more on that in a little bit. So in this duel, I am against Tenpai, I believe, and thing about this is they don't know what I'm doing exactly, I suppose. So they hold one for they hold Ash here, and they don't use it on my 1-for-1, but I'm pretty certain that it is Ash at this point, because after I have resolved 1-for-1, my opponent has no responses, so I know it's not likely that they had max Z chainable, so it was something that was in response to specifically the 1-for-1. And in terms of things that can respond directly to 1-for-1, it's not that many. So what we're going to do is we're going to pitch the Meluseek here, or not Meluseek, pitch the Silquatus here, normal summon the Meluseek, and we're going to use the Pukri here. And we're going to make Hextia here, and then chain 1, we go Meluseek, chain 2, Pukri. Okay, and I'm pretty confident it's nothing now, because it's not like a Gamma or Shifter, because there's no response to Malwisp here. So there was also no response when I chain blocked with Pukri. So we're going to special summon the Meluseek, and then we're going to use all 3 of these guys here for Prime Banshee. And this is so I can chain block Hextia here with the effect of Prime Banshee. If I just made Adminia here, that would also be able to chain block technically. But I have the extra material for Prime Banshee, so why not, I guess. So Adminia here, and we'll also be able to grab the Silquatus here. I grabbed Silquatus because I'm thinking I might be able to reborn the Malwisp, potentially. I didn't bother calcing it out, but just in case I could, I'll hold on to these 2 in the graveyard. Aside from that, I guess I could add Pukri back to my hand. So, alright. We're also going to search Multifaker because we open Manifestation. And now we have a Revitalization, Manifestation, and Protocol alongside the Multifaker and Adminia. So we're going to immediately, because I believe, I'm not sure actually. I won the coin flip, right? Okay. So I'm just going to play around just in case my opponent is actually on Tenpai. So we're just going to activate Revitalization and Manifestation. And here, they made a poor choice, I suppose, activating Max here. I can use Protocol to send Revitalization for cost. The way Altergeist sends things for cost and moves things for cost is kind of weird, honestly. But anyways, we can do that. So that allows me to special summon Hextia, Multifaker. My opponent ashes the Multifaker. Well, that's what they're attempting to do here. So yeah, they had Ash last turn, the entirety of last turn, but they just didn't use it because they were probably hoping to Ash, I suppose, the Meluseek. In case I actually had normal summon Meluseek, that's probably what they were trying to play around, I guess. But yeah, can't Ash the Multifaker here either because Protocol, so. Now imagine if I could just simply special summon like a Pukri or something, then I would have been able to do this chain block without like 1-for-1, right? And there would have genuinely been no way to Ash Blossom my combo here, which is kind of cracked if you think about it. It's not like that insanely cracked because you will still probably die to an imperm and stuff, but this is just how close, I guess, Altergeist is to playable. It's still a little ways off because you die to one hand trap. But yeah, I guess there's also the fact that you have what's called no extenders, so there's also that factor, I suppose. Alright. Can't negate the Multifaker effect. Attempts to Raigeki me here. I'm going to immediately reload here, you know, just get extra ammo here. So we're going to negate using the Malwisp here. Meluseek. That Protocol, I've already used it, so Heavy Storm doesn't matter. And then they add Chundra. And I just honestly felt like allowing them to summon the Chundra because I don't need to. I can actually return this Dora before he can summon the Chundra. just didn't care. Anyways, we're going to do this now, and then we're going to return the Dora. Wait, are we going to return the Dora? No, we're actually going to Silquatus effect to add back the manifestation, I believe, right? And then we have Meluseek for next turn follow-up. Because I already activated the effect of Malwis, right? Yeah. And also, in case you're wondering how good Altergeist was, the answer is not very. That game is what we call an outlier. So essentially, from that duel, I did learn that Altergeist, like, if we had a little bit of juice, just one more good card, that is what Altergeist could possibly look like a lot more consistently and through hand traps as well, right? So the issue is if I open like all Geist monsters, right? If I start with, for example, Marionetter, you can negate this, and then I have no follow-up plays for the turn. I have to pass turn. If I normal summon the Meluseek, and then you negate either the Malwisp here or the Meluseek effect to search, it bones me in ways you can't even like describe. So personal spoofing, I won't be able to use that unless I have another Altergeist card. But even if I do have another Altergeist card, all I can do is special summon Multifaker and Silquatus. And then I guess next turn I'll be able to shuffle back the Multifaker for a Meluseek to attempt a play with the Meluseek, which is kind of tragic. So it wouldn't be like exactly this, but if we had, for example, just a Mathmech Circular, that would go pretty hard, you know, just imagine. Special summon this Altergeist, and then we'll just send a Altergeist trap to the graveyard, and then we can add it back with Prime Banshee if we can manage to get into Prime Banshee. But like, that would be just so cracked. A man can only dream. So this got me thinking about a lot of things, and essentially I've just been messing about in the dual scope as of currently. I'm not like super tryharding here. Otherwise, why would I play Geist, right? But I was also playing Mech Knight, and I just realized these decks, honestly, it feels like they're essentially kind of like they have the missing pieces for each other. Like if we had the equivalent of a World Legacy's Memory, you know, or Sangin Kaiman, that would be absurdly cracked for Altergeist, and that would actually make Altergeist a very playable deck, right? Compared to what the abhorrent abomination it is right now. Like honestly, in my opinion, Altergeist pretty bad right now for a variety of reasons. But yeah, so World Legacy's Memory, we can special summon a Mech Knight monster from our hand or deck in defense position, but return it to the hand during the end phase. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except for Mech Knight monsters. So the reason World Legacy's Memory sucks ass for Mech Knights is because you want to make like Ib, and also you want to use Girsu's effect to summon a token to your opponent's side of the field, which you cannot do, which sucks. Because the token is like an Orcus token and not a Mech Knight token, which is annoying because there is no Orcus locks in this game as far as I'm aware, but there are Mech Knight locks, so yeah, that sucks. But alright, with World Legacy's Memory, if instead we replace every instance of the word Mech Knight here with Altergeist, this would be a way that we could special summon Meluseek, Kukri, Multifaker. If we could special summon Multifaker, Multifaker can special summon like Meluseek, for example, and that would just be an actual genuine Altergeist one-card combo. But instead, we have normal summon Meluseek, link off for Link Rebo, and then we special summon back the Meluseek by adding the Malwisp, which is also a Garnet. So we kind of have to run two of these because we have no combo if we open Malwisp, Meluseek. But anyways, we do that. Link off for Hexia, link off Hexia, link Rebo for the Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess brings back Hexia. Hexia adds Manifestation, so we can special summon back in draw phase the Malwisp. And Malwisp will also bring back the Meluseek, so whenever our opponent then special summons a guy, we can Promethean Princess to pop the Amplo Whale, and their special summon, I guess, and then Hextia can be special summoned with the effect of Ambloale, and we can get this to point to, I believe the Malwisp is better, and we attribute the Meluseek for Linkuriboh before this all kind of happens, and then we can search something with the Meluseek. For follow-up, I guess it would be Marionetta. The only thing that actually might do something that we can add here is going to be Conquery. We can't activate Multi-Faker's effect to actually special summon a Geist. We can special summon Multi-Faker, I believe, right? But we can't actually activate this effect here. So, kind of pointless to add Multi-Faker, just to special summon itself to do nothing. In that case, we might as well have, like, I don't know, summoned, like, a Pukri. Kind of, I guess, because we summoned Promethean Princess to summon the Extia. That's kind of where this leaves us, and this is awkward. And also, let's put it this way: this is not a Geist card, this is not a Geist card, and this is not a Geist card. And also, Geist locks you, so we can't go into our Geist cards properly. So, honestly, I think if you just made Geist more restrictive and gave like Geist support that Geist locks you, then that would make sense, right? Because honestly, I don't think Altergeist should be playing like generics. Just not really a big fan of that. Would rather have it play a little bit more like akin to something like a DD, and actually like Geist lock you more in this case, or not. Just having like good Geist synergies would also be great, you know. Maybe on like a Geist monster that gets special summoned off of something like a circular E-Telly or something like that, have it only be usable for the link summon of a Geist monster, so you at least have to go into like a Hexty or something. I don't know, just something. Because as we could see from that duel, like Geist is unironically so close to playable. So I don't know, maybe imagine we can send any Altergeist card, like for a circular like effect. Maybe we send Pukri, we can send Protocol, we can send Revitalization, and then we can do things. But nope, we're just here with like the worst lines imaginable. So like if we're playing, for example, Sword Soul, just in general, like vanilla ass Sword Soul, the combo is going to be more or less either normal summon Taya or Moyi. So if we want to do normal summon Moyi specifically, we're going to have to banish likely a Sword Soul card. If we're going, well, we'll go with Sword Soul Pier. Then we'll have to go Emergence, grab Taya, banish the Emergence, and then that's combo, right? And then if you negate the Taya, you still have the possibility of activating like a Longwan, or activating potentially a Chunjun to like do something, right? Altergeist doesn't really have that. So if you throw out like an interruption pretty much anywhere that's like somewhat reasonable, that just completely kills all your momentum and you end on actually nothing. So like with Vanquish Soul instead, or like Kishtira, if you interrupt the combo, like you can maybe still get the Rosin Pop. If you interrupt like Cash combo, you get like either Unicorn or Fenrir effect to banish next turn, and nothing else, but still something, right? Meanwhile, with Altergeist, we have like if I pass on Malwisp, Linkuriboh, for example, all I could do is link them off for SP and Prey, and that would be my best kind of follow-up action. That, or I have Spoofing, which can be Ash, and this shuffles for cost, and then I need to Prey. I top deck, like, let's assume my non-engine is enough to carry me through the turn despite my, like, Spoofing getting Ashed. I need to Pray, like, literally just pray that I get an Altergeist card to shuffle back. Like, if I top deck a Altergeist Protocol, I can shuffle that back. Revitalization, I can shuffle that back. And then I'll have to grab the Meluseek and essentially try again. That, or I could go Malwisp. Add Malwisp to special summon Meluseek, and then I can still have my normal summon for maybe like a Marionetta. or something like that. But yeah, just in general here, Altergeist, like we're so close to greatness. Like you have all of these pretty useful effects now, and you also have nice grind game. You have the ability to play through certain hand traps really well, like Ash Blossom Drift Spring, if you play it kind of properly, like I did. Kind of. I mean, you could argue my opponent just played improperly, but yeah, there was not a single point in the entirety of that setup where you could Ash aside from on the 1-for-1. But also 1-for-1 was the only way I could get like an extra body out, which is suffering. And also worth mentioning, I guess, is multi-faker is kind of just, it kind of feels like a useless card. Like if we do a bunch of test hands, I don't think multi-faker is going to be that useful. So let's look for a hand with multi-faker in it. Any day now. Oh, finally. A single hand where multi-faker is going to be useful, but also this hand is just cracked with multi-faker. Exactly. That's kind of awkward, but all right. It had 2 traps with multi-faker. Okay, so here's an example of a hand where multi-faker is cracked, but only because we opened 3 cards. Wow, that's wild. So here you would normal summon Marionetter though, but if Marionetter gets negated by like Imperm, we're completely cooked. Imperm's 3 of. If we get effect failure, we'd be cooked normally, but we have called by, so we'd be fine in this instance, unless there's a second one. So here we can go like Marionetter, setting the Haunted Rock, send Meluseek, and then we get Depression. Essentially, is how I would phrase this. But whenever we activate Haunted Rock, that will activate Multi-Faker effect, and we can Marionetter to summon back the Meluseek as well, to then trigger its effect to search, probably a Malwisp, right? Something like that. Or we can even keep the Haunted Rock in case we actually want to play around traps. And then we can multi-faker effect to just summon, I guess, the Malwisp to bring back the Meluseek. There's that option as well, technically. And both are like somewhat valid, but I think we do end up with Geist cards in our hand. So technically, I guess we could use this for like an evenly matched if we saved it for that. Doesn't really work against Red Reboot though. But alright. This hand. Something happens to my precious boy here, Marionetter. This card's dead, this card is dead, and this card is dead. And we have called by in hand, so great. And also, let's look at this hand from a different perspective. I am going second now. Damn, second multi-faker. Alright, I normal summon Marionetter, my opponent activates like literally any card, and I'm pretty much cooked. Cool. Let's assume my opponent has, I don't know, a single negate of any sort. Remove the Marionetter. Bam. Negate. Destroy the Marionetter. Well then. Effect failure on the Marionetter. Imperm on the Marionetter, but they went first. Well, now this is looking a lot more unplayable, isn't it? If we're considering that, right? Well, at least we have called by for some things here, but yeah, that's really not going to do much for us. And then we'll do another test hand where we look for a multi-faker. And it's a small miracle because you don't always open like the evenly or imperm with the multi-faker, but we're doing so consistently here. But also, at the same time, yo, but what if I went first? This is barely playable. And also, this Haunted Rock is actually cucking me because I can't do anything with this Marionetter. The only thing I can do here is normal summon Marionetter, grab Protocol Blast. Truly a great hand if I'm going first. And this hand does like pretty much nothing. If I normal summon Pukri and then set Protocol, that's all I can do here. If my opponent actually knows how the deck works, they can do what's called simply normal summoning a guy and then running over Pukri for battle, except I have Kunkuri, so I can protect from that exactly. But also, this effective negate's kind of wasted on that, but it protects my Protocol negate, I guess. And I guess I still technically have the called by as well, but still pretty painful. Look at the engine here. So this hand's not great either. Silquatus. This card kind of also a garnet in the same way that the Haunted Rock is as well, which sucks. So the thing about the Silquatus here is that Multi-Faker can only special summon from the deck, and if this guy is not in the deck, then we can't summon it. So we can't summon anything useful, and there's nothing that's an interruption that we can summon off of Multi-Faker except for Silquatus. So yeah, that sucks as well. It's like all the little things adding up, but the engine would be like sufficiently playable if we just had a little bit more. We're essentially, I would argue, like one circular away from Altergeist actually being just decent, because we're still not as broken as like Mathmax. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about this. And also worth mentioning is, even if we did send like Meluseek from the deck to the graveyard, this wouldn't even trigger. So it's not even that insanely cracked, sadly. But alright. Here we can like spoofing shuffle back the Silquatus, I guess, to grab, in this case, like it would be either Malwisp or potentially Kunkuri. And the only thing we can do here is normal summon the Meluseek, and then well, we have the Cult by here, so that's great. But if we get hit by the Maxi, we just have to pass with Malwisp Linkribo anyway, so it's like imperm, except my opponent drew one. Essentially is how that feels, I guess. So at least you have like potentially a decent pivot, depending on exactly what your hand is, because your engine is honestly kind of weird. So if we activate the personal spoofing, we can always summon the Multi-Faker. So that's cool, I guess, if nothing else. If we get Maxied in this hand, like maybe we had to called by on something else, and then our opponent Maxies us, then our called by is gone. Let's pretend that is the case. Here we have Multi-Faker summon Silquatus, and that is our one interruption with our 5 cards in hand. Isn't that great? But at least it's something. Some decks can't play without their normal summon, you know, like for example, sometimes Tenpai, if they're bricked enough, they can't actually play. So yeah, if that came up, then this hand is a winner, I suppose, because we can also spoofing again next turn for our follow-up play. So that's great. And also worth mentioning, I guess, is that Altergeist is probably the best kind of control deck, like kind of backrow deck, where, well, in the sense that you aren't super getting destroyed by main deck backrow removal, because you have Extia's non-hard once per turn effect to negate a spell trap. So you can imagine in the one replay, where instead of just getting hit by like nonsense, I could just consistently be negating like backrow removal. Like I could negate Lightning Storm, and then Forbidden Droplet as well. And I would be chilling. And even if you did Forbidden Droplet me, I could still activate my effects. It's just continuous effects wouldn't really be applying. I don't think we have any continuous effects though, right? Except for maybe Kunkuri. So yeah. Altergeist, I really wish it were better. Mech Knight, also wish this were better. So while we're here, might as well talk about Mech Knight as well. Like, but we can go more in depth on Mech Knight in another video, but essentially, the only normal summon you have in this deck is Girsu. And there was one other, being Ibli, which you could link off for link 1, and then you can line up the zones, right? So we have like Lingribo, for example, the extra monster zone, and then right above that we could put Ibli, and then we can special summon Mech Knight Blue Sky. And even if we're like not trying to flick our opponent here, like, you know, that, well, if we were not doing that, because we actually can, with Purple Nightfall, that whole line is like a whole different discussion. But if we were just to summon like Blue Sky and go through our combo, we'd be able to do that turn 1 instead of waiting for our opponent to actually set a card to do blue sky search. So the other thing I might want for like Mech Knight is just some kind of Mech Knight card that just special summons to my opponent's field. That or World Legacy's Memory just doesn't lock you. Like, either option would make Mech Knight infinitely more playable, because Mech Knight, honestly, a pretty good deck. The only thing it's really missing is just a more consistent turn 1 play. If it had that, Mech Knight would be insanely cracked. But it does not, so it is kind of mid. Going first, at least. Going second, different story. And whether you play around the Mech Knight columns or not, we have things like Red Reboot that we can play. We can also play Kaijus to kind of adjust the zones here for our Mech Knights, like Blue Sky, getting 2 searchers off Blue Sky, Nightfall. And this goes kind of hard, right? So the issue right now, though, is like we can play Kaijus, so we're not like that troubled, but Secret Village is really prominent here, so we're not able to use a lot of the powerful spell cards like Right Geki, Dark Ruler No More, Forbidden Droplet. None of those cards are activatable, unfortunately, and we do need our opponent to play somewhat, so we have zones to like play around with our Mech Knights. We need our opponent to have like cards just in general. Whether they're live or not doesn't like fully matter, but just things in general. And Mech Knight is also similar to Altergeist in the sense that they have kind of unique playstyles to an extent. But yeah, kind of feels annoying that instead we get like a lot of, I guess, generic combo decks that do the same exact combo over and over again. And Mech Knights is pretty high skill, and Altergeist as well, because they have a lot of value in their zone placements, and a lot of the sequencing is very important for both these decks, and that makes things pretty damn complicated here. So the only thing that would be problematic, I guess, specifically about Mech Knight being like meta and giving Mech Knight support is, you know, World Legacy Key, Secret, and Whispers. Together combined, we have, you can no longer activate any effects on the field. Yeah, alright, that's a little bit problematic, I guess, but you know. You're basically doing that with Secret Village anyways. That's kind of the goal, so. Is it problematic if Mech Knight does it? I don't know. It could be, I guess. Depends. But just in general, I just like a card that just summons like 1 monster to my opponent's field and 1 to my own. That would be like more than enough for me. Because, you know, I've been struggling to get Girsu in my hand, like when I was playing Mech Knight, and then I would just get like Imperm every single time I happened to open Girsu. And I was struggling to open Girsu anyways, because hand without Girsu is literally unplayable. So yeah, these are 2 decks I would really like to see get support, I guess, right? And they're just essentially 1 card from playable, unfortunately. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.